Many thanks for joining us again on the African Diaspora channel in collaboration with Cross River Broadcasting Corporation. And this is the Policy, Investment and Opportunity Podcast. My name is Janice Kobum, and today we are going to be talking on something very interesting, and that is effective representation and as a catalyst to investments. Joining me to have this conversation today is Sir Leonard Anyogo. Sir Leonard Anyogo wears so many feathers to his cap, so I'm going to be careful when I am saying this. He is the DG Good Governance and Advocacy International. He's also a member, Chatham House, London. He is an international business law expert, University of Canberra, United Kingdom. And of course, he is also the secretary, Cross River Northern Elders Forum. Thank you so much, Sir Leonard Anyogo, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. I must confess, it's as if I'm in the Buckingham Palace.
Oh wow!
I must confess.
Yeah, definitely. Kudos to those behind the African Diaspora channel, and of course CRBC for doing a great job and making this podcast studio so comfortable for people like you to be part and parcel of it.
Quite commendable.
Yeah, definitely quite commendable. But again, I think I like to make my guests feel very comfortable. So let's start on a lighter note. Okay. Let's not forget it's a podcast. Yeah. So tea or coffee? Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Why? Why tea? Let's know.
Because sometimes, because of the tight schedules, so many schedules, there's this belief that coffee don't allow you to sleep early. Okay. So maybe tea will be more relaxing for me.
More relaxing.
So I can sleep from so many hectic schedules.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And today we are looking at effective representation as a catalyst for investment. This is an investment, policy investment and opportunity podcast. So whatever it is that we're talking here, we are actually going to be opening up Cross River State for investors that would want to invest with us. But before we delve into investment as, part of our fulcrum for this conversation, let's look at effective representation. What would you say or describe, or how would you describe effective representation?
Well, for me, maybe for the purpose of this discussion that centers on investment opportunities in Cross River State and beyond, I see effective representation as a policy that is deliberately channeled towards ease of doing business, towards provision of basic amenities that supports business. Business environment is quite cumbersome. So there must be that deliberate policies of government or policymakers that enhances business environment, like tax relief, tax holidays, like basic amenities like provision of electricity, good road, accessible road, and the likes. Those are the basic effective representation. Because when you talk about effective representation, you talk about policies, deliberate, intentional policies of government that enables business environment to thrive. And quickly, let me land on this by saying that any good economy relies solely or majorly in the private sector. Because if you look at the ratio of 100%, you're looking about 90% of citizens in the private sector. Very few percentage of the population, maybe less than 10% that are in government cycle. So if you want the economy to thrive, if you want the security of the country and all that, so you must have to be very deliberate about the private sector, and which is the business sector, which is the investment sectors, by making the business environment very friendly.
Okay, so let's look at when we talk about proper or effective representation. I think from the little that I know about effective representation is the fact that whatever it is that representatives are doing, it should be tailor-made to suit the problems of each and every community. Now, let's bring it back home. Do we think that, those that are representing us are doing this representation very properly?
Let me look at a broader perspective so I can get a clearer picture. Representatives here, I think I want to expand it to include the 3 tiers of government.
Okay.
The judiciary has a own role to play, because when there's conflict, you need the judiciary to resolve this conflict in a business environment. In fact, in the UK, if your judicial system is seen to be weak, it doesn't encourage investment. So that's why I want to start with the judiciary. Judiciary, where the citizens or the international community must have confidence in the judiciary of any nation for business environment, for investors to try, because there will be conflict in investment. So how do we resolve this conflict? So the judiciary is very key. Now, secondly, the executives. These are the policy makers.
Exactly.
That implement policies of government, that implement legislation. These have to be very key too. And then the parliament, the legislative arm, both at the state level and at the national level. The National Assembly, of course, is composed of the Senate and the House of Reps, and then the state houses of assembly. These are very key departments that have to work together. Now, just like you rightly pointed out, policies of government, different jurisdiction, different environment. Just like, let me use your words. You say tailored made. I agree with you totally, because the policy of government that is desirable in community A may not be the same attention that should be given to community B. For instance, community A may just need a good access road that afford them access to market. If especially across the state, you have majorly is agrarian community where you can evacuate goods and all that. Community B may have road. So what they need there may be electricity or other social amenities or other policies that enhance that business environment. That's why I said, in fact, I want to commend you, because the word there is tailor-made. It's intentional. These are the policies of government. That is, so if you are a representative, either in the parliament or in the executive, or, okay, let me exclude the judiciary at this point, you must have to look at policies of government that is drawn from the people. What do the people want? What is the particular interest? And let me
particular interest or need.
Yes,
affecting a particular community.
Exactly, particular interest or need. And that is why I am not a friend of palliative. I must quickly say this, because what we are seeing in most of our representatives, with the greatest respect to some that are doing well, but some of them think that representation is provision of rice.
Okay, so let me quote you there. We are going to come back to, the palliative mantra or thingy that we get to experience.
It's a podcast.
Some representatives.
I was going to argue with you, because
no, hold on. We're going to get there, because let's look at going by your definition now. I think the next question I would like to ask you: are we having effective representation?
Well, maybe I can say it's a pass mark. Pass mark. In some schools, pass mark will be 40%. Some school will be 50%. So let me just use generally a pass mark, because there's always room for improvement. You cannot say there have not been some positives, but there's always a lot of room for improvement. So. And that is because that's why I mentioned that word palliative, because what you see as someone that has capacity is doing well because it's making a rights available on occasions and the rest, may not be universally acclaimed to be effective representation. To me, just like we started off, but I said effective representation will look at the policies of the intentional or the tailored policies of government or legislation or piece of legislation that enhances a business environment. Because when you talk about investment, it's not just having money and putting the money down. What is the support system? What is the taxation system? What is the public infrastructure being provided for that business? What the manpower, the labor laws available? So it's a whole gamut. That's why I said, if you look at effective representation, it will just be a pass mark, but I see a lot of room for improvement. Okay,
so I'm going to ask you this question now. Let's bring it down to Cross River State and this particular administration, the administration of distinguished Senator Prince Bassey Derutu. Do you think that this administration have opened its windows or doors enough for investors to come in terms of availability of policies, in terms of structures, in terms of human capacity, all of that?
I think this administration from the onset was prepared for governance. There's this adage, and I believe that a good manager is as good as a management team. No, because the head determines the followership. So this administration, unfortunately, if you are talking about Cross River State, in terms of the revenue from the federal government, is nothing to write home about. The Cross River State has been debased, has been abused by the nation for no fault of theirs. You see the loss of oil wells, the ICJ judgment that is not being addressed. So you see a potentially very rich state that was, I don't want to use the word raped, but that was robbed of its potentials. Now, why I say that this administration, the two-led administration, is deliberate, he's not coming to talk about just waiting to receive federal allocation. He's been very deliberate about the business environment being making it be conducive. What are we talking about business environment? We're talking about the good road network. I mean, we hardly see potholes in Cross River State roads, and then the rural roads are now being done across the Central District. To me, Cross River State, the main thrust of development is road, because our people are basically farmers. Okay. So we need to open up the roads so that they have access to market and evacuate raw material. That's why I will still come back to this point that Cross River don't need palliative. Okay. You don't give rice to a farmer because he can farm. So we need to provide those basic amenities. So I don't know why this palliative will not leave my mouth in this podcast. so because the governor too is being intentional. Talk about the stride in opening up the Advocacy deep sea port. Look, like I said, we have less than 10% of Cross River that are in government, either as appointees or elected or civil servants. Majority, over 90% are in the private sector. So if the Advocacy deep sea port works, it will open up the system. I mean, even you remember there was a time that the ships were offloading in Calabar. Gadgets were very cheap. People could afford a lot of things. So that's why I said I want to give this administration a very high mark and urge for that sustenance. Now, because the manager is deliberate, the management team must have to follow.
So are you trying to say that the management team is not following suit to what the manager is trying to bring on board?
I think there's still a whole lot of improvement, because with the greatest respect, the Good Governance Advocacy International did a public lecture where we invited stakeholders. If you are an appointee of government, you should know the policy drive of your boss, of their leader, who is the governor. The governor cannot be everywhere. The governor cannot be everywhere. So you must have to understand the policy thrust of the governor. The governor is a very humble, dedicated and focused person. So if you are an appointee of government, what is the policy drive of your boss? So the governor will not be in your office, will not be in your ministry or commissions or agencies. So you must have to deliver. And that is why... So
for you, a lot of appointees do not understand where the governor is going to in terms of his policy drive.
I think that we must have to rejig. I think that some are doing very well, but you cannot say everybody is doing very well. No, I don't agree to that. We must have to rejig the system from time to time. Let me tell you a scenario. I was in Abuja 2-3 weeks ago with a very top senior government official, not Cross River now, and he was telling me that, let me be a bit personal. He said he wants me to manage an agency of his, private agency, as a consultant. And I asked him, so why have you not recommended me for political appointment? And he told me that those ones are not for technical people like me. And I said, okay, why don't you recommend the political appointee, I mean, people that are in your circle for this job? He said, no, they won't be able to do it. And I said, but they are in government. They are heading agencies. So why will it be, when you have solution, when you have a problem, you will not call for technical people that can deliver?
But it's different when it has to do with political appointments.
A political appointment.
Anybody can be a politician.
Exactly. So we must have to be deliberate to change that idea that politics, anybody can be appointed. No, I do not agree to that. Look, there are a lot of ways of settling political support. You can, if you want to give them contract, give them contract. But there are some key political appointments that you should have to look at the capacity, the background of the appointees. I think we have very good appointees in this government, but there's always a room for improvement. Okay,
thank you. Let's now come to this, your, palliative thingy. We've seen a lot of palliatives flying around in recent times, right? We've also seen a lot of dragging here and there. Oh, you're not doing so well in terms of representation. Okay, we don't want you to go back there. You stayed so long. And then we've seen all of a sudden a lot of representative beginning to do what I call their constituency projects. Okay, before we even talk about palliative, let's look at what should constituency projects look like. Because that is when we now place it side by side with why some of our representatives are giving out palliatives or handouts, as we may call it. What should our constituency projects look like from our representatives?
Well, I think I have a bit of knowledge about the parliament. At the national level, the National Assembly, I think they will have what you call constituency projects. They may be provided for in the budget. But I don't think the State House of Assembly have constituency projects. I don't think they have. Now, at the National Assembly level, projects are deliberately inserted by the parliamentarians because they have to, in quotes, show working. I don't know what that means. Now, I'm trying to balance our jurisdiction with, because we copy this democracy from the West. Okay. And with the greatest respect, this is not how it is practiced across the oceans. It's not how it is practiced. Now, let me digress a bit. I'll come back to that question. Here, for you to say you are a capacity leader is how much you are able to dole out on for function, how many bags of rice you are able to give, how many functions you are able to give. Now, but we're talking about investment legislation that takes care of investment opportunities. It's better to teach a man how to fish than to just give him fish. Now, that's why I said, if you give a farmer in my community a bag of rice, to him, I think you are insulting him. Honestly,
because he can actually farm that rice.
Yes, he has it.
And get thousands of bags.
Exactly. So I think that's why I said accessible road business environment is what we need. Most importantly, now at the national level, as I was saying, you have a constituency project that is deliberately inserted so that where you have people who ask you've been in the National Assembly for so number of years, what did you do specifically? And that is another point of disagreement to my mind. Okay, because the legislative arm primarily is lawmaking and oversight functions. Okay. Honestly, sometimes we over-expect from them because that is not their duty. And that is why a lot of them claim projects. Let me tell you, across the country, you see somebody who is a commissioner, the other one is a House of Assembly member, claiming the same project.
Yeah, we saw what with the street lighting and stuff. Somebody
is claiming a member of the House of Assembly or a commissioner claiming the project. So what's the credit to the governor, for instance, or to the president, where everybody is not claiming credit? I'm the one that did this. I'm the one that did that. It doesn't make any sense to me, because a government is like an engine that has the parts. Everybody is working together for a goal. So you cannot claim that you are the one that is solely responsible for a school building. Because for that to take place, the building must have been appropriated by the House of Assembly and the executive by the executive arm of government. So that's why I see this antagonistic behavior of government appointees and the legislators. Who claims what? Who claims the credit what? To me, there's an alter ego who is the governor, as in the case of the state, and then the president. That is his administration. So appointees struggling to outdo themselves, laying credit and laying claims to who owns one project. It doesn't work out. And that's why we're having this problem of, okay, this legislator is doing well, the other one is not doing well. Forgetting their core duties. And that is why they are bringing
formulation and implementation.
Exactly. That's why they are bringing rice.
and oversight functions. Okay, so you've really dealt with this rice thingy. But if you say that, that the core function of our representative, both in the Senate and House of Representatives, is policy formulation and implementation and oversight function, then why is it a problem that they give handouts to their constituents? Why is it a problem?
It's not never a problem at all. Handout is just like I want to say an addendum. For instance, you are going to the farm. You have set a target to go and harvest maybe a plantain or yam or whatever, and along the road you see snail, and then you pick. That is the palliative now. But your aim is not going to pick this snail. Your aim is going to the farm to harvest. So why you are doing this palliative, giving rice or doing those basic 1,000 to 2,000 to support your constituents, you must not deviate from your core responsibilities. For instance, if your the constituents is asking for a road, you should take that to the floor and follow through with the Ministry of Works. For instance, these are the core responsibility of effective representation. But we have seen in most cases, you are in the National Assembly or the State Assembly and you're not contributing to the motions. You're not bringing public interest cry. You're not doing those basic things. Rather, what you are waiting for is to just share palliative.
Okay, I get where you're coming from now. The abandonment of their core responsibility in the house. And then they just sit down and want to give rice. But don't you think that the people like the rice giving and stuff?
Well, unfortunately, and this is serious. This is a very serious matter. Poverty has been really, really weaponized.
Okay.
With the greatest respect, if you allow me to deviate a bit, I will. The kind of prayers that I see in churches in Nigeria or in the mosque, it's not the same kind of prayer that is prayed in other climes, not necessarily Nigeria. Here we are talking about miracle. God will provide. There are some things that government or the people should provide for themselves. You don't bother the creator about praying that God will give us good road. God is not the one that will give you good road. It's the people and government that work together. All the arms of government working together to provide good road. It's not God that will give you electricity. We pray for good road. No, those are not the kind of prayers that God has given us those potentials to work as human beings to help ourselves.
Okay, I think we'll come back to that, but let's look at this question. How do you think that lawmakers can balance constituency needs with national development priorities to create that conducive environment for investors?
Let us be very practical. You want to set up a small business. Like, okay, we have in Cross River State, for instance, we produce a lot of Gary processing, even pineapple. Do we have processing factory for it? Now you have the money, or I'm able to bring in money for my international friends to bring money to the state or to Nigeria, or better even to the state. Now, what are the legislative framework that enables me to quickly set up a business, starting from registration of such company? Do I have to need to go to Corporate Affairs Abuja or do the one here, use the one in Calabar, or can actually go to online and register that company, start same day? Would I get a tax relief or a tax holiday in quote? Would government agencies, different agencies now, not even one, coming to ask me for clearance fee or whatever fees they call it? These are the practical aspects of setting up ease of doing business. Now, what of access to funds, funding and accommodation of the business? Can we easily get that done? Can the government say, okay, if you set up a business for the first 1 year or 2 years, you don't have to pay any tax. We will help you to set up this business because you are employing cross-variants, you are employing Nigerians in your business. Do we have that kind of policies? These are the issues that when we talk about real investment opportunity. Now, I also had a public lecture and I said, I think the laws establishing Corporate Affairs Commission should be reviewed. You don't ask somebody who has not started business for the first 4, 5, maybe 2, 3 years. He just started business and you ask him to do annual filings of returns. You ask him to come and pay tax. You ask him to go to the auditors. You ask him so many of those inhibitions. It doesn't all go well. It doesn't all go well. So the ease of business must be very deliberate. Okay. I think especially the first 5 years, if we have that piece of legislation, and this is where the National Assembly should come in. The first 3 years, let's say 3 years, it's tax free. You don't tax that business entity so that they can settle down. And because when you set up a business, the first year, after that first year, you are not making money. You are just trying to understand the business environment. And then you are going to expire. You have to pay. You are paying taxes. And then you are paying workers. So I want to advocate using this platform with the greatest respect and profound respect for this opportunity to say there should be a tax relief for the first 3 years, no taxation
of businesses
in Nigeria. What I know, if we can put that into as a legislation, it will help businessmen or people that are interested in business to set up. And then let me quickly say this. Now, we're a consuming country, a consuming state. We don't produce. And we don't have the facility to even...
But we have the raw materials.
We have the raw materials. Most of the raw materials, if you go to the villages, they are completely wasted because they are perishable. Most of them are perishable. Even yam, even cassava, they are perishable.
But we are exporting cocoa, aren't we?
Cocoa is another gold mine.
Exactly.
You know,
so many rich boys and girls in Ecom right now.
On a lighter note, a government appointee, and this is very good for Cross River State.
Yeah.
A government appointee went to a function in Ecom, and he came, you know, with the hypes of government appointee. And he supported that occasion with, 200,000? And then one boy that was sitting that was not recognized. Guess what? Guess what? You can just guess the amount.
The cocoa merchant came out with 2 million.
What? A boy with a short ticker that was 2 million.
2 million, are you serious?
2 million. I was like, how long? That's why I said, the governor too-led administration is deliberate, decoupling the state. Let us do business. Let Cross River go into the agricultural sector. 200,000 without high profile, with calling names and all that. Somebody at the back paying 2 million. I mean, so that's the kind of economy we want to run, we want to drive. And that's why we need to have that policies. For income in particular, I think the cocoa factory, we need to look at it, privatize it, so that they can start doing chocolate and all that. You see, the problem we have in this country, you see our raw materials is taken to the West. You know, I was in the International Business Roundtable and I said, it's the West that they are the ones that are even making us poor because they are taking our raw materials, process it, and selling it back to us. That was what was happening in the refinery when we didn't have refinery. Thank God Dangote is here now to refine our products. You have your items, you harvest it in the raw materials, take it abroad,
and bring it back as processed.
And then you are buying it again, buying your thing. I mean, so if we have processing factories in Cross River State, you know, it's not government. Government will just provide the enabling environment. Cooperatives, 2, 3, 4 persons can come in and say, okay, with the enabling environment being provided by this administration, and then we can kickstart. That's how to kickstart the economy. Okay,
so let's look at another thing now. In what ways can we say that transparency and accountability in governance can boost investment? Yes.
Absolutely fantastic questions. Now, we'll talk about, I don't know why we'll still Nigeria go out to look for international investors. You don't need it. It's your business environment, your projection through the media that would attract people naturally. Why did I say so? I started by saying that if your judicial system is, in fact, that's where they see, you know, with all modesty, I'm an international business law expert. We look at the judiciary of the country, of any country. These are the boosts because they are the ones that settle disputes. Okay. The man is bringing in his multi-billion naira or dollars or whatever currency is bringing to the country. He's worried. So if I have challenge, would I be able to get my money back? Would I be able to, you know, resolve this conflict in a record time? And with the greatest respect, I'm so sad to say that our judicial system does not deliver there's no quick dispensation of justice. I'm so sorry to say, because I'm also a very senior legal practitioner, you know, and that's why I said the laws, that's where this parliament must come in
Yeah.
Why do matters in court stay 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Now, but if it comes to election matters, there's a time frame and the same result is delivered. And that is why this podcast, this engagement is very important and necessary. We can also, I'm providing solution now.
Yeah.
We can have quick dispensation of justice to enhance investment opportunity or drives or interest in the country by or by making legislation that say, look, civil matters must be dealt with within 2 years. It's possible.
So all of this brings about transparency.
Exactly, transparency in the process. Because if I put in someone, I bring in investors, or investors come to put in money in Cross-River State or in Nigeria, and there's dispute, and the man or the investors don't have the faith or confidence of saying that, look, our judicial system is, there's delay in administration of justice and all that, despite the reforms, it's still not working with the greatest respect. We need to be very deliberate. We need to bring a legislation that provide a time. Civil matters can be dispensed of within 2 years. It happens in the UK. UK, I mean, most of our laws were
2 years.
Yes, within 2 years, it's possible. Let me tell you how it works in the UK. Now, that's why you see somebody is arrested in the UK for crime. Within the next 6 months, it's already sentenced. Remember the unfortunate case of Ekwemadu and the wife. If it is in Nigeria, I tell you, this will still be in court. Now, why? Because the system program is fashioned in such a way that people have faith, and there is the time. The time is very key. Now, why I said 2 years for civil, this is very critical because there will be a lot of reaction to what I'm saying. Okay. Why I said we can dispense your civil matters within 2 years. In election matter, within 180 days, or I mean,
about 3 months. 3 months or 4 months.
Yes. You have that shorter time. I'm talking about the period now.
Yes.
There's a period, there's a time lag.
A window
that you must have to dispense that. And it's working for us.
Exactly.
Now, why should a civil matter that concern business, simple contract, I gave you money to supply goods and you did not supply, and I have taken you to court, and they will tell you to go to court, and you are in court, there's adjournment from for one reason or the other, from high court to court of appeal to the Supreme Court, you spend 10, 15 years. Sometimes the parties will die. Even the lawyers handling the matter at the high court will die.
and you're still pursuing a civil matter.
I'm still pursuing a civil matter. And the one is tighter. And that's like, look, I just get sometimes, look, it's very frustrating. I won't tell you a lie.
Oh my God.
It's very frustrating. And that's why I don't just talk. I'm giving a solution, a practical solution.
Yeah. It's very serious, because how can I be doing business and I have a conflict with maybe my business partner, and I take it to court and it's lasting for 11, 12, 15 years?
That is the sad reality.
Yeah.
So if there's a piece of legislation that is attached to different matters, maybe for instance, if it is divorce within 6 months, if it is business, because business is what drives the economy.
Exactly.
We say within 2 years, we should be able to dispense of it. It is possible. Why? We can engage more judges, employ more, judges, expand our courts.
Okay.
So that because the workload, if you go to some, with the respect to my friends at the bench, if you go to their courts, some court list, sometimes a judge is listening, it will attending to 20, 25 cases. And then sometimes with the great respect, some of my colleagues, they are not even ready for the matter. Why will you come to court to take adjournment? So these are some of the things. So if there's a
timeline,
yes, that is based on a legislation, it will work. So we know the problem of this country, but we don't attempt solutions to it.
So all of this will bring about transparency and accountability.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move forward now. I think it will still land us in this. My next question will still land us on, the issue of palliatives and handouts, because how can citizens begin to hold their representatives accountable, for investment-based promises and policies? I think that if we really want to talk about this, some of the citizens prefer handouts than even holding their representatives accountable.
It's very sad. That is because there's so much high level of poverty and there's lack of creativity. Let me say this. Let me say this with the fear of God. Why do party administrators why do political party system, why do our government agencies or those in authority will give political appointment to an individual that same individual, they cannot give him the same responsibility to manage their businesses? I don't know whether you get what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that the capacity of appointees, the background of appointees, the expectation of appointees, it should be the same yardstick. If, for instance, as a local government chairman, you know that this man that you are making a supervisor, can you make the same man a supervisor in your own bakery, for instance, assuming you have a bakery? Use that as a standard. They'll say, no, this one cannot manage anything, though. But you are giving him a political responsibility. It doesn't work.
Okay.
The system will collapse. So until we look at, we have to be very deliberate. We have to be very deliberate about people who support. Let me land.
No, let me come in there before you continue on this particular question of, citizens asking for accountability. That is, if they do at all. Are you trying to say that, based off of what you have just said, are you trying to say that most political appointees do not have capacity?
Well, I will not say most, I will say some. Okay. There are some critical appointments that you do not... okay, if you look at what President Tinubu is doing, President Tinubu is even bringing people that were abusing him from the opposition. That is a fact. He has made some of them ambassadorial nominees. That shows, and let me quickly say this now, that after politics comes governance. Politics is a vehicle, Yes. The destination must be good governance. Mm-hmm. Now, politics, you are doing politics, you are campaigning, you are doing that. But once you have been elected and you have been sworn into office or you have been appointed, you now do governance, because the road you are doing is not for people that supported you now. Everybody will pass on the road. The policy of government is for everybody. Mm-hmm. So, but in Nigeria, we tend to play politics all throughout. We are not looking at governance. So there's that thin line of, that's why in the US, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, once you are in that White House,
for everybody.
It's for everybody. It's the policies of the government of the United States, the master plan. And that's why I must commend this Otu's administration. Because he came in and is completing even projects that have been initiated by his predecessors. Mm-hmm. We must have to have that continuity of project, continuity of policies and governance. Mm-hmm. So that the next person that comes after this administration should continue with the policy trust of the state. That's how development is sustained. Mm-hmm. So the capacity, the party leadership must be very deliberate. Why will you not call, for instance, you want to send Barrister Anyogo to manage your private sector? I'm not advertising for myself, but you don't want to give the same Barrister Anyogo opportunity to serve in government at that highest level. So we must have a benchmark. Who are those people that are in that? And incidentally, the appointees and those in the National Assembly or the State Assembly, they are the policy makers. Why don't we send our best brain? So
if we don't have technocrats,
exactly,
going there,
exactly,
it will trickle down.
It will trickle down, because there's nothing like I am a politician, a professional politician. There's nothing like professional politicians. Politics is a service. It's a service.
True.
It's not a profession. I don't think that anybody can wake up. But some people I heard that they will tell me that, Barrister, this one, you are a professional in politics. But me, I'm a professional politician. I say, so you don't have any other work. Your own work is to do policy for money to live in it. No. Politics is a service. You are there for a particular purpose. 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, as the case may be. So until we see politics as a service, we will be thinking that it's just business for everybody. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we must be deliberate on who will send, the kind of person who send to the National Assembly, the State Assembly, the appointees of government. Let us ask them, this man that I have appointed as a commissioner, can he manage anything? Can he manage a factory? And that's why I said there are a lot of ways of settling, because in politics you must have to, in quote, monkey walk, monkey chop now. Mm-hmm. But monkey no go chop where they won't win pass them. I'm sorry, I'm speaking this. So, what are we saying in essence? That we look at the background. If the best cannot be encouraged to participate in policy formulation, because all the work we have saying that policy making is principally for the government appointees, National Assembly members, and the rest. And so, if we have very good brains, like I said, we have very good leader. We have a very good leader in Cross River State, and so that's why I'm advocating that appointees of this government must sit up, and key into the vision of the governor. And that is governance over politics.
Okay, so how do we think that, citizens can begin to ask for that accountability?
It's by participation. Unfortunately, what we do in this part of the globe, after elections, everybody goes home and complain. We just complain from morning till evening. Like, I was just complaining about the time it takes to be in for cases to be in court. But I offer a solution. I profile a solution. Citizens engagement, public lectures, town hall meetings. And let me not seem to be patronizing, but I think that the present administration of Governor 2 is very engaging. He engages with all sectors of the society, the religious class, the business class, the farmers, students. So you must have to deliberately open that avenue for people to channel their grievances, their advice. And let me quickly say this.
The questions.
The truth is this. The truth of it is that some person, once they're appointed in government, they feel they know it all. You don't know anything all. You don't know anything all. You must have to get the feedback from the people by engagement. The man who disagrees with you does not hate you. The man who disagrees with you is the one that loves you. You should be wary of the man that always clap on 24 hours for you. I mean, if you see snake, you say, "I'm gonna be snake without that rope." So
maybe because of what the person is gaining in return.
But that's why I said the leader. If you know yourself, you know your worth. Sometimes you know that, look, this thing I'm doing is not correct. The man that is encouraging you on is the one that wants to fail. So that's why I said, if you're in leadership position, consult, listen to people. See, with the respect, with total respect, it's easier for me. I mean, I sit amongst heads of government.
Okay.
It's easier for me to talk to the Prime Minister of Finland, leadership of European leaders. I mean, some even African leaders at the Chatham House. But it's sometimes very difficult to even see a chairman of council and the protocol list and all that. There are some persons that will come to you. They are not coming to ask you for money. You must have to constitute a think tank. It's the value of persons around you. Look, as a leader, if you surround yourself with talks, if you surround yourself with people that will praise you 24 hours, you will fail.
Praise singers,
you fail. You need people that are critical, that will tell you the truth. With the greatest respect, I know that in this country, there are some leaders in this country, if they want to hear the truth, they will call me. Say, Barrister Anyogo, what's your perspective on this? I said, so I hope you know that I will tell you how it is. So your think tank, your engine room has to be people that know the subject. Okay. It's very, very key.
Okay, so let's come back to investment now. I know that you had proffered some solutions when it had to do with, the law aspect of, or rather the legal aspect of doing business, preferring that court should have like a window to address civil issues that had to do with business. But let's look at policy reforms that you would recommend for effective, to enhance effective representation and attract investments.
I think that when you're talking about the reforms, the blueprint of government, what a particular administration, what do we set out to achieve? For me, I don't even want to particularize any administration.
Exactly.
It should be policy of government. Yes. It should be continuation. Because governors, whether you're a governor today or you're a president today, tomorrow you will not be there. Another person will be there. But the policy trust of the administration of the people is constant. And that's why in Cross-River you talk about the people's administration. It's about the people. So the governor does not need to be there for you to do what you need to do. Okay. So the policy of the people that is drawn from the people, it has to, you make the people believe that, or make them participate in policy formulation. Like you said, it's tailored, it's intentional. What does community A needs? And that's how this issue of palliative still come. Let me tell you the truth about this palliative, and let me use this opportunity to address it. You know that most recipients of palliatives are very angry with the system. They're not happy.
Okay.
Because now, if you give somebody a cup of rice, how does he cook it? How does he make it? Now, if you use that same money and give them fertilizer, we're looking at policy now, sustainable policy now. You give farmers fertilizer, they'll produce plenty bags of rice. So that rice will be just and then when it comes.
Now you said if you give someone fertilizer, they'll produce many bags of rice. But in this same Cross River State, I think a House of Reps member gave his constituents, stems of cassava, and he was all over social media, the backlash and everything.
Well,
is that not sustainable development?
I saw that. Well, it has to be with how that was packaged. If that's the only thing he has done, people will criticize. But then, there's times, maybe, did he go with fertilizers? Who are the target audience? Then, do they have farms? Or you are giving a stem of cassava to somebody who stays in the city? So the target audience and how we go about it is key. And that's why I said, you, as a leader, you should have a very good team around you. People that are critical. People that look at issues. What is applicable today may not be applicable tomorrow.
Okay.
You have to look at critical thinkers. So I want to see policies of government that is sustainable. How do we bring policies that makes our business environment conducive? Now, we'll talk about this electricity. The good thing about this electricity, let me talk about the electricity. It has been decoupled. Now, from the federal government, it used to be exclusive list. Now, both the state government and the federal government can participate in production of electricity. And for me, I think we can even go further by making it private. Private individual can even provide electricity and sell. It's a product.
Okay.
So before now, it was just federal government.
So that's a key area of investment.
That's a key area of investment. We should still decouple it by legislation so that private individuals can even produce electricity and sell. Everything has to be of course, regulation. That's what government should do. Government has no business engaging directly in business. But you have a good policy, have a good business environment so that people will own this policy. Now, if you are working, you do know why the private sector some of the private sectors are working. Now, you are working in a company. You are a shareholder of that company. You know that you have a right, you have that interest that, look, you have to protect your investment. Yeah. You'll be serious. But if it's government, anything goes, they will say it's none of your business. So those sustainable policies that is deliberate from the people and the people's participation, how do I mean? You must have that continuous engagement. The policy A today may no longer be sustainable to the emerging circumstances across the globe.
Okay. All right. It's been wonderful talking to you and having this conversation, really. But as an international business law expert, we are wrapping up now. International business law expert that you are, and you're talking to a global platform, okay? Because this platform is for diasporans, right? What would you say that are the business opportunities that we have in Cross River State that could make anybody, come down to Cross River State to do investment? You've talked about the electricity, cluster. What other investment opportunities do you think that Cross River State is open to and open for?
Look, one of our greatest assets as a state, as Cross River State, is the peace and security we have. No, look, in the global community there, Nigeria is seen as, in terms of security, our mark is very low.
Okay.
So I was discussing with a group of friends in Australia, and they were agitated. You want to do carnival? A lot of people gathered. Insecurity? I said no. Cross River State is a bastion of security when you talk about Nigeria. Because the impression is that, how do you do carnival when people are being killed every time and all that, insecurity everywhere? So that is our greatest achievement, our greatest selling point rather. Because when the world knows that, look, there's a section of Nigeria that has natural Amazon. I mean, the rainforest is there, untapped. The potential is so great. Because why I mention this security issue is that we'll try to talk to some business experts, business investors, to come in and invest. They say insecurity, judiciary, you don't resolve matters quickly and all that. So look, Cross River State is a model. And that's why, I'm calling on the nation, Nigeria, that you can kickstart your image branding with Cross River State. The carnival, that yearly carnival will do.
Yeah.
We're able to manage that number of persons.
For over 20 years.
For over 20 years. It shows that the state is deliberate. And that's the deliberate policy I'm talking about. From one administration to another, it's been sustained. Now, when people have that faith, and that we're able to resolve conflict very fast, and that's why the judiciary has to come in now. Unfortunately, Cross River State does not have control over the judicial system. Though we have state high court, but it's the same system. Both federal high court and state high court, the same system. Now, that is the selling point of Cross River State. We have a lot of potentials. I mean, the rainforest, in the Western world, they will give you a lot of grants to sustain that. That is a whole lot of money, even minus the oil wells. If we harness our resources very well or market it very well, and that's why publicity is very key. Yeah. Because there's a lot of wrong impression out there. Someone said, "What are you still doing in Nigeria?" Some of us have that global opportunity. Yeah. So what are you doing here?
The whole jackpot syndrome.
Jackpot syndrome. I said, all of us cannot go and run and stay in another man's land. In fact, you can't express yourself, both economically or otherwise. You are running to a system because the system works. When we have the best brains in Nigeria. Now, Nigerian doctors, for instance, Nigerian lawyers, Nigerian media practitioners, they are the ones that some of them control the Western world in their sectors. But if you bring the same brain here, we now say, what is working? We have institutional failures. And that's why I said, leaders, whether in Cross River State or in Nigeria, you must have a good team that will complement your leadership. Because like I said, the governor cannot be in all the ministries or in all this thing. So there's time to review and rejig from time to time. I'm not calling for anybody to be sacked too, but I'm saying that you must have to review your performance. You must have to review your performance. You cannot be in quote Odogu or one King Kong in one place forever now. You must have to adjust and move. So that constant interaction and movement will enhance people that Cross River State is a model. And Cross River State is doing well. Honestly speaking, Cross River State is doing well. The problem we have in the international community perception is that Cross River State is Nigeria. When you say, Nigeria. So I'm always very deliberate to say, look, Cross River State, Nigeria is a federation. Cross River State is one of the 36 states. And it's a state that is free from insurgency. Because the people we have deliberate government policy, good people that are here managing our resources and in our own way. So that's why let me use the opportunity to say that we need to do. There was a time that Cross River State was advertised in CNN and other agencies. And of this podcast too, that's gone global. So we must advertise Cross River State using this platform so that the international community to know that Cross River State is not all what they hear. The insecurity is not, it does not affect Cross River because nobody will put any dime in a situation where there's insecurity. Now the Americans are here to train our military, So there's capacity building. There's that confidence building in the global community now that okay, things are getting better.
Okay, it's been wonderful talking to you, Sir Leonard Anyogo. Left to you alone. We can go on and on and on. I like the enthusiasm in your voice, talking about Cross River State and how investors, can channel their resources to this state because one, it is peaceful. Two, it is devoid of any form of insecurity and the lots. And then three, the government is doing so much to make sure that the environment is conducive enough for anyone that wants to invest in Cross River State. But let me ask, your parting word as we wrap up now. What's your parting word?
My parting was that we should always put forward our best. We should encourage very good people to participate in politics and governance. If a man cannot manage a small business, he has no business to be appointed in government or to say he wants to lead the people. And we shouldn't see politics as a profession. Rather, politics should be seen as a service
to the people.
Service to the people. You must know their purpose in life. Why are you on this earth? You are on this earth to better humanity. Like when the governor addressed his party stakeholders recently, said, "How long will you even stay on earth?" That touched a lot of Crossriver, including myself. How long will you stay on earth? What's the purpose? Your purpose in life is not to just acquire wealth, steal public funds, and just keep and just for no reason. Of course, people just say, when you're in government, you have to steal. And in fact, that orientation, your community, if you're in government and you don't steal, you go back, they will stone you. It's sad. It's very sad.
Oh my God. I think I have to end this now. Thank you so much, Sir Leonard Anyogo, DG, Good Governance, Advocacy International. Trust me, we can go on and on in this conversation. But the key points as a take home here is that, look, after politics comes governance. Politics is actually, service to humanity. And that's where governance comes in, because when we put good heads, in places of authority, it will trickle down. It will definitely trickle down from policy formulations to policy implementations. And that's where we have a place that is conducive, or environment that is conducive for business, owners to thrive better in. And of course, it will also encourage investors to come into the state, into the country to do investment. It's been wonderful talking to you once again. I want to thank you so much for coming here. And I think subsequently we'll have to bring you back on different issues. But thank you so much, Sir Leonard Anyogo, for being part of this podcast show today.
Thank you for having me. I must tell you that I think I'm in Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Something good is happening in Nigeria.
Definitely. All right, this is the much we can take on our African Diaspora channel on our Policy, Investment and Opportunity podcast. My name is Janice Kobum. See you again when I get to see you. Bye-bye.